Mark, we say just.
All right, so welcome to the Upper Captiva Pacific Association General Membership Meeting, April 27th, 2023, 6 p.m. Call to order. We've already kind of done roll calls. So Melissa's got that for the minutes. So the first thing is any additions, changes, deletions to tonight's agendas. Does the board member have anything they want to add?
I move we delete all the.
And delete everything and get to the drinks. Figure that was coming.
Yeah,
Second.
I didn't hear one.
All right, so we'll move on. Any public comments on our agenda items tonight? Nope. All right, so we'll move on to the treasurer's report. Mr. Fry.
We have money. We haven't spent it all. All of the documents for the last 3 months, January, February, March, are posted on the website. So I'm not going to go into detail about it since I know there's folks that need to more important business. No. And at the next board meeting, I'll be posting the full quarter's financial statement, profit and loss. Subject to question. That's all I have.
Any questions for Mr. Fry about finances?
I told you to do it.
A lot of people out there. All right, so we'll move on from treasurer's report to current island concerns. First up is hurricane debris removal. So we've got our gentleman from DRC. Just so people know. Anyway, just wanted to kind of have DRC be here, give an update on the debris removal process. As many of you may know, the sub that was here got dismissed. Bring in a new team. Little Mo is expected back tomorrow, as are 2 more grapple trucks.
Actually tonight.
And another skid steer. They've already started second pass of veg on June's area.
Can I just suggest 20-second break?
Sure.
100,000.
All right.
And we have plenty of seats, Steve. Marty, come on up to the front. Yeah. Swing's the only one that bites.
Just found out there's free wine.
Not yet.
No cool kids ever seen.
I did too, but I guess.
And everyone.
Congratulations, you're great.
Yeah. Gonna continue, we're actually already mid meeting. So we're gonna kind of go back to, we already went through financials. As a quick one, we're gonna go to current island concerns and start with hurricane debris removal. Got our reps from DRC Emergency Services here tonight to sort of talk about the debris removal process, where we are. I was kind of giving a quick recap. The former subcontractor was let go. They're replacing them, the new team. Part of the new team's on island already. The rest of the team is coming in tonight. With Lil Mo will be back. 4 grapple trucks, will be 3 grapple trucks, 3 skid steers. They've already started, second pass of veg, starting at Panama Shell. They're over at Oyster Shell today.
We were off.
Oh, already. Yeah, cool. Yeah, so from the looks of it, the new crew, the new process is gonna be much more efficient, faster. So I'll let you guys sort of take it away.
And my name is Steve Crawford. I'm a regional manager with DRC. Scott and I work on a lot of projects together, and I recently finished up another project, so I popped in and helped a little bit. Hopefully you find that Scott's been very accommodating. I know he speaks very highly of everybody he's met here, everybody he's working with. So we do appreciate that. Glad to be here. Swin kind of gave you all the really good highlights. The biggest issue obviously is the previous subcontractor has been replaced for several reasons that are probably well known to everyone on the small island. But we have, I think we've already heard some fantastically positive things about the new group. They have been, some of them have been with us a very long time and are used to doing a lot of what we would call specialty type projects, things that are more like this, not so traditional. And then obviously we've hired a couple of island workers as well, and they are doing fantastic. In fact, I don't want to let the secret out, but we hope to keep those two, to be honest with you. Yeah, and we hope that they're working other storms with us as we move on to other things. But yes.
Trevor and Hudson Taylor. 2 young gentlemen, fantastic equipment operators, concerned with the island folk, as they actually live here with grandma and they grew up here, and a vested interest in making it, not leaving a chaotic ending to their work. They're finishing off, they're doing the best they can. They're not the landscapers, but they're gonna finish it off, back drag it, make it look as pretty as they can. And they're doing great work.
And in our line of work, we hire a lot of operators, obviously, so we're not easily impressed. These 2 young gentlemen are very impressive, very impressive. And so we're glad they're out here because they are, what y'all's, they have an interest in doing a little better job and trying to clean up and leave things the way they should leave them. So hopefully you find that, and that will continue as well. As Quinn said earlier, we do have the little Mo barge will be returning this evening, as a matter of fact. They're getting it unloaded right now from Giuseppe. The last load just pulled out of there. The truck that you've seen that is doing such a good job now, there are 2 more of those returning tonight. So they will be in the process tomorrow, which is really going to speed up the collection of the C&D. Scott has the priority list. I know there's 3 priority areas we want to get. One is the power area and a couple other ones.
Couple other concerns.
Yeah, so real quick, those areas are the lot that is right at Spanish Gold and Hidden Lane, where there are bags around it right now. That lot is leased by SEC, and they're gonna start moving their equipment into that lot to start their project. We'll talk about that more in a minute. Then the second area is the end of Point House Trail. Right as you kind of get towards the point, there's a bunch of stuff. And then the third, and I think everyone will be super excited, is Duncan's area. All that stuff's gonna go away.
1, 2, 3 priority. That's our start point for tomorrow. And C&D is the focus. Once we get everybody on island here tomorrow, we'll pull off of the veg, go to C&D, and hopefully you'll see a cleaner, smoother operation with logistics of these guys. We're gonna work streets, stay on the streets till we're completed, and then move to the next streets. No jumping around, no crazy stuff. We'll truck north, central, south. Hopefully we'll have the barges keeping up with it. If not, we'll add barges and trucks on the shore to, expedite the process.
And we have added additional crews on the mainland side so that those barges are getting emptied faster and getting right back over here faster.
Where are
So
you taking that on the mainland side? Where's it go?
Charlotte landfill,
No, what barge side are you using? on?
Captain Collins.
Okay,
There is a possibility to swap to the co-op. Little bit of logistic issues with spinning and flipping barges and the trucks that we're using to offload the barges. It's just a little tougher spot to get the materials off, so they're comfortable at Capcom right now, but not to say we won't go to the co-op to shorten the run, and we'll get there as we see how the flow of the barges and trucks works together.
currently there's 2 of those self loaders with the trailers. We call them a double. So similar to the truck that's here with a trailer offloading at Captain Pond's. As of Monday, there will be 5. So there's 2 now. As of Monday, there was 5. I do want to state that Sunday, there will not be any work performed at all. Even the skid steer work, there is the state who we're working for has mandated a safety stand down. So we have to conduct some safety meetings. It's just part of the protocol. So we have to conduct our regular safety meetings and, talk about some subjects. There was Sanibel, there was 2 of our workers bitten by alligators. Yes, so we wanted, it was a separate division, but because of that, we're gonna do a little stand down, cover all types of safety. So we'll be doing that on Sunday, so there won't even be, they're not even gonna allow us to run any skid steers or do any preparation type work. But we will be back in full swing on Monday. So, the only other thing I want to say, I want to give a compliment to how the material is segregated. That really helps us out, keeping the beds and everything separated. I know we've got some things working with the white goods. I think are going to help. We're working on that now. But please continue to do that. If you're going to continue to set materials out, keep that going because that will help us in the recovery process faster. And I think just as we saw with USEPA, this new crew is going to be hopefully very impressive for you all. This is going to come up a lot faster. As of now, we're working with a June 30th deadline and a stop date. That gives us 60 days. We feel we'll be done in plenty of time with that, because we do have to move down to the south end as well.
You're doing the south end?
Yeah,
Yes.
Wow.
and we created a plan for that yesterday, how we think we're gonna handle that one.
Those induction owners are not happy.
Yeah, and but we are working towards that end, obviously, and we worked on a plan yesterday, because it is gonna be a difficult task.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Where's that barge going in on the south end?
Around the point. So,
Yeah, on the
On the base
east
side.
side, east side.
So you know where those
Just,
rocks
on
are?
the-
They're just right back there.
just past where those rocks are there to protect, just on the other side of that.
We know that.
Yeah, that's what we worked on yesterday for a little while, so we've got some plans working with that we'll finalize. The one thing I do want to bring up, we are discussing, today, we made a lot of phone calls and did some work on the materials that, the vegetative materials that are at the 2 sites that we have. That material is to be reduced, which is typically done through grinding. Some of you may have seen the type of grinding equipment we had down there before. It's not real efficient. So we were looking at some other equipment. I do want to forewarn you that the equipment is a bit noisier. And obviously there isn't any areas where we're not going to impact folks when we do run those, if that grinder, if we bring it in. We have some weight requirements, so we can't bring in anything that's huge, because of the weight requirements of the barge. But it will be a bit noisier than the other equipment. We would be very mindful not to be firing things up at 5 in the morning or late at night or after dark or anything like that, but it will, both of those areas are close to homes. So it will not take us, it'll be 30 days, I think, from start to finish, for both locations. 2 weeks at one, 2 weeks at the other, and then that'll be completed and done, and that equipment will get back out of here. But I did want to, out of transparency, want to share that with you when we do start that part up. It will be a little bit easier than that. But it's much more efficient, faster. We'll get that done, and like I said, 2 weeks each location, I'll get it out.
Any questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, you mentioned, no, you wouldn't be working on Sunday. On Sunday mornings at 9, there's a group that worships.
Yes, ma'am.
on the East Beach over there. Now, Little Mo is usually on the other side of the airstrip, the north side. But I just hope that you don't leave like trucks or equipment at the end of that road on the beach.
We'll make it a point not to be in that area on Sundays, absolutely. Shouldn't be any need for that at this point, where they used to put the tower for making calls and all that. We're gonna get that closer to Mo and let you folks have that whole side of the beach, so there's no issue.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions for VRC? Anyone? So only other thing, oh, go ahead.
I just want to compliment you on, after trucks come through with your mattress sweeper. I mean, I just drove here down my road, you just came down my road, and it's like. I mean, it's
a
not
mattress,
perfect,
It's a futon.
I'm sorry.
It's not. That's the difference between a barbaric operator and something.
Thank you. I didn't see it, but thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you for the help. Like I said, we are very, very pleased with the they are very impressive. The fact that they are one of your own, I think they take a lot of care and they care about what they're doing here. And we have been impressed enough with them. We want to keep them with us over. So we are glad to have it. Thank you for the help.
We're so glad you're here.
Yes.
Thank you. You're honored to be here. This is, it's a fun project. Obviously, it has, but it's a really fun project.
Awesome.
If we want to get you back to normal as quick as we can, it's, it's long and it's tedious because of some of the logistics, but we want to get you back.
You're just talking about the environment, not us.
Yes. Well, I can't help some of that other stuff.
We're not gonna leave the streets till the hop around and stuff.
Yeah, so I'll just add real quick, because,
Beach and.
I'm working on getting DRC and LCC together, because it sounds like LCC is coming in imminently, and I can't even fathom that work starting while this work is still happening.
Right.
Digging up the road, because if everyone remembers, we went through this last year, they're coming in, they're gonna dig up every road, they're gonna replace every line, every transformer box on the island. And that's about to start.
Wherever they would start, we would need to be completely 100% finished.
How much we get this all on the call?
Yeah, we saw some of your emails today. Thank you very much for that. Obviously, we're going to move as fast as we possibly can, but any help that we can get with that situation will be a lot.
And so the last thing I mentioned this to Scott today is if we can get a pretty good, so we're looking at really 60 days, right?
Yep.
We're looking to be out. So I think that we've got to get more messaging out to the community. Like we UCC would probably need to send letters to every owner when this is it, this is your chance, because after they're gone, it's on every individual homeowner, your debris, you got it.
Yeah, on the 59th day, if you're putting out 40 yards of material, we're on the other end of it. It's gonna be tough.
Yeah, we need to know when the third pass is gonna start, where it's gonna start, so we go.
Sure. Good communication, open lines of communication.
What pass are we in right now?
They just started the second of veg. So they'll about to start the second of
But what
CND.
about some that didn't even get the first?
It'll go in the second.
Yeah.
The first pass we'll say was chaotic, right? It was.
I mean,
No rhyme or
right.
reason to where it came from.
Sweep all the way through. And then-
Thorough this time. It will.
And we're not leaving
Anybody
street.
who might have confidence, the goals to take care of.
What about the palm fronds that are still green, but they're broken off? They were hurricane damaged. Are we gonna be okay to pick those up?
Yeah.
Okay, good, yeah, thank you.
Black bags, you're generally okay with. There are a few of them
On
out
this
there.
job, we have been. Most jobs we're not, but we haven't taken.
Yeah, there's not.
Yeah, I've seen clusters. Not gonna- We understand that you're gonna stick insulation in, some veg and, we're gonna be.
Yeah, and if the monitoring firm gives us trouble because we can't see them, we'll cut them open, we'll do some sampling for them so they can see that it's actually drywall and insulation. Things like that.
Awesome.
And I guess full bags, still you don't take full bags.
So,
Yeah, I'd sure like to talk about that.
yeah, we'll We'll talk that offline, off the recording,
Okay. all
after
right,
the
yeah.
meeting, over
Or did
drinks.
I ask?
But yeah, as of right now, they are not taking bullbacks.
Okay,
They
sure.
can't touch bullbacks. But we may have a plan. All right, anything else on debris removal?
If we spray paint bull, will you take the bag?
Yes.
Thank you guys so much. All right, so next, real quick, it's just a community island cleanup initiative. We just had one yesterday, that Kevin led Sue Paul successfully. Yeah. Great. Yeah.
Could we hold the side conversations down because the folks that are listening on the TV aren't gonna be able to hear?
Yeah.
Private.
Over drinks later. So we're gonna try to have, a community cleanup every month. Yep, over the next few months. We can't, because there's just a lot of litter out there. It's not, it's not the debris stuff, it's workers and whomever else just throwing bottles and cans and stuff flying out of cars, so. Anyone who can join us monthly, please do. Anything else on that? Just wanna talk about? Right, so next, I invited Lee County Sheriff's Office to join us tonight to talk about recent uptick in crime, mostly theft, petty theft from either building materials or little stuff. We had Lieutenant Sawicki on our board meeting last month, and we kind of went over some things, and ideas popped up from neighborhood watches and everything, which you can't just willy-nilly do a neighborhood watch or things. I just kind of wanted to, let the committee, talk to him a little bit about, crime that you've seen and
Yeah, we have to make sure it doesn't devolve into, villagers and pitchforks. and
Yeah.
torches. There's some things to look out for that. And, among other things, you guys can be thankful that you're not allowed with alligators like Santa. So it's certainly safer in that regard. As far as an uptick in crime, I'm glad you brought that up because we are not experiencing any significant reporting in an uptick in crime. And we've had one theft report of the construction materials. And I know we've had several that have been talked about, posted about online, whatever, but they've never made it to us. And one of the things that we've been finding, and this is certainly not every one of the incidents, but we have been finding that a lot of the incidents we're chasing down are turning out to be a civil matter, where the exact facts of it are not being conveyed through social media.
Sure.
Once we start dissecting some of this stuff, it turns out to be something else. We've had a few things where there's indicators that a contractor or more has told the homeowners that there's been a theft. But they don't want to report it to us, and it appears that it might be something they're telling the homeowners to extend deadlines and timelines and things like that. So that's something to maybe be aware of, people saying, well, this is stolen, so I can't come to your house and work on your project today. Well, that's because they got 3 guys working for them, 15 jobs. So it looks like from some, and this is not all of the incidents, of course. I don't want to, turn this on all your contractors, but we have seen at least one case where we tracked it back in that Pier Beach case that they were telling the homeowner one thing, and it was to, delay the discovery that they were way overbooked on their jobs, overbooked and undersupplied. So it's not a problem that's unique to North Captiva. I mean, the scale of damage on Captiva and especially Sanibel and Fort Myers Beach, we're experiencing, you guys are having the same problems, and maybe even to a degree on a lesser scale than some of these other areas are having. So just be cautious. I mean, some of the people that come up to do this work are not fully honest. Some of them are, willing to play games and try to, rob Peter to pay Paul a little bit and that sort of thing. So be patient, be aware of what it says in your contracts. Those are the important things. If you've contracted them for labor and you put a timeline on it, what happens between the time that they start and the time that they're over, that's not really your problem. That's the contractor's problem.
So, just kind of be aware of what those things say. If you're hiring people for a job, be choosy about who you're hiring. You're perfectly welcome to ask some questions about who they're hiring, how long those people have worked for them. I mean, did they pick them up outside of a state prison in Alabama on the way down here, or did they? Or is this somebody who's worked for 15 years? You know, and those are questions. You know, hey, how long did this for work? We're seeing countywide and regionally is a lot of these contractors, even people we're familiar with and everything, they're subcontracting to somebody who then subcontracts to somebody who then subcontracts to somebody. So we've had a lot of problems with chasing back to the, somebody's like, well, I hired these guys to do the work. And then we're having to go through, 7 levels of what to figure out who actually is the person responsible on the site. So again, this is countywide problems. Some of these things may be criminal in nature. Some of them may be civil in nature. And if in doubt, please call us. We can't address problems we don't know about. But be prepared that some of these things might be civil matters that we can't really wave the magic law enforcement wand over to make go away. But if nothing else, we can help point you in the right direction to how to solve that problem, what you need to do to address it. So as always, please, the key to success for our program out here is good communication with you guys as residents. I mean, that's the way it happens. On the other side of that, I would also encourage everybody to take what I would kind of consider universal crime prevention precautions. Make sure to lock your doors. I know it's very easy when you're in a low crime, safe community to say, well, it's North Captiva, I don't need to lock my doors. It's Sanibel, I don't need to lock my doors. Well, you have people who are unknown quantities after stuff. Lock the doors, set the alarms, turn on the cameras. If you've got materials laying out in the yard, try and keep them where they're not. Any items of value, just not really visible from the street, if you can help it. If it's something you can lock up, especially golf carts. I can't say this enough. So many of the thefts of golf carts we have could be solved with a $6 bike lock from Walmart. And people wouldn't even try to take it. And as a lot of you know, a lot of golf carts up here will run with a key, without a key. You can use a little piece of shell to turn them on. But that bike lock is hard for people to defeat. So, by taking sensible precautions to keep your property from being that low hanging fruit, that prime of opportunity, that somebody just sees it as they're going by. Oh, I'd like to have that. Oh, I'm tired of walking. I'm going to grab somebody's golf cart. Make it where yours is not easy to get. That's the punchline to that. The 2 other things I wanted to address that I've had calls about recently. Hold on. So one of them, of course, would be the county leash law. That's probably, other than kids driving golf carts, is probably the second most common complaint we get. There is a leash law for Lee County, and it does apply to North Captiva. You have to have your dog, if you're off of your property or off of a property that you have permission to be on and have the dog off leash. The dog must be under physical control. And in Lee County, that means a lead of no greater than 8 feet. We have a lot of people that are letting their dogs run around. It's a complaint we get from residents a lot. And the most common response we get when we talk to somebody about it is, my dog's really friendly. It never hurt anyone. And maybe that's true. Maybe it's not true. But the leash law is not always there to protect people from a dangerous dog. It protects your nice, friendly dog who would never hurt anybody from running up to a dog that might be leashed that is not friendly. It also helps people, believe it or not, there are a lot of people in this world who are just afraid of dogs, no matter what the size, no matter how friendly, no matter what breed. And it's not fair for us as dog owners to inflict our off-leash lifestyle on people who are afraid of dogs. So if you're off of your property, put the dog on a leash. That's simple. It is a crime that is, punishable under the county code. It's a fine the first 2 times, and then it's a mandatory appearance in front of the judge. So just try not to make a habit out of letting your dogs run free. And that kind of segues into the other thing, as you remind me of getting into sea turtle nesting season. So keep an eye on your lights. There are lighting requirements if you have a house that face out onto the beach. And I've had a discussion with somebody up here on the island. They've been curious about how that's done and how that's enforced. And I will tell you, even though it's not the most fun thing in the world for me, I do spend a significant number of nights during turtle season driving people from code enforcement up and down Captiva to log violations and send people letters and, start fines and stuff on repeat violators. I would rather not have to come up here and do that. But if it turns into a persistent problem and some people complain enough about, then we'll undoubtedly be up here with code enforcement. And most people, I think, in this room, and even people who come to visit, we all like sea turtles. They're charismatic little creatures, and nobody wants to hurt them. Nobody wants to have them wandering off away from the water and burning the precious energy, the small bit of energy those hatchlings have. They don't want them drying out in the sun because they get disoriented and end up back in the dunes instead of in the water. And so where we've run into this problem on Captiva is with a lot of the rental homes, because people might put it into their information packet in their book. And as we know from our own vacations, usually when you show up to your vacation, the first thing you do is not grab a binder of information and open it and put on your reading glasses and go through every bit of information. You grab a beer and you run out to the beach. That's pretty much what everybody does. So one of the things that we've done on Captiva and Sanibel that's been great is these little clean stickers that say like after 9 it's turtle time, and that's this really cute little turtle with the wristwatch, and that did reduce violations. So we were talking with some beer turtle people up here about maybe working on trying to find those other grant. SCC printed out a pile of them a few years ago, but I know they don't have them right at the moment. But just for your own reminder, be aware that there are turtle protection ordinances. They are enforceable, whether it's lights. The other thing is no vehicles are allowed on the beach. Like really, they're not allowed ever. And I know we've had a few complaints from people about golf carts getting out onto the beach. That is illegal under the state law. It's illegal under county ordinances. It does create damage and degradation to the beach, and especially to the dune system and to native stabilizing vegetation. So golf carts, trucks, nothing's allowed out there on the beach except for some very, very narrow exemptions. Law enforcement, rescue, scientific monitoring, such as the sea turtle monitors. And that's basically it, except maybe they allow some powered mobility devices out there for disabled people, but even those have to be approved by the county for use out there. So I just discourage people from doing it. It's harmful, it's illegal. And the other thing is driving a vehicle out onto the beach with the salt and the sand severely degrades the life of that vehicle. And we know this because we operate vehicles on the beach a lot, and they go south very, very quickly when they are exposed to salt water and sand. So make sure that your renters are aware not to take vehicles out on the beach. And of course, you guys as residents, I think probably I'm preaching and choir in here about this. I don't think there's a lot of people that are doing that, but just a reminder, it's illegal.
We're working on projects to pull out those areas.
Excellent. And if you need the statutes or ordinance numbers, I'd be glad to send them to you again, because you can reference those on the signs. It sounds a little more threatening when there's a statute ordinance number at the bottom of it.
So real quick, so Chris dropped a stack of his cards here, just so everyone else can everyone grab a card and they just.
And you can call us anytime you like.
On your salad, go.
So of course, we're always happy to have you guys call us. Probably most of you have my phone number. If you don't, I'll be glad to read it off to you. I am actually out of cards, Chris being prepared at his. But I will caution you that if you're having an emergency, dial 911. If you need a deputy to respond, there is a number on there, which is our non-emergency number. It's 239-477-1000. It's better that you call that one first, because the dispatchers have a series of information that they take on calls. The other thing is that because we are on an on-call basis, rather than you trying to call one of us, I'm on vacation somewhere, and then you're trying to call Chris and he's, off that night, and then you try to call Christine, you've gone through a lot of time trying to track down the right deputy when dispatch can get the right one right away. And our call takers are getting all the information, and as they're entering it, the dispatchers are reading it and sending it to us. So when you do call 911 or you call our non-emergency number, if they're asking you a lot of questions, they're not wasting time. That information is going out real time to the deputy through the dispatcher, but the call taker is gathering that information. So be patient, don't get frustrated with them. It doesn't take longer because they're asking those questions. If you have a general question about anything, I mean, anything about the islands or about what we do or anything we can help, any community problem we can help to mitigate, problems with neighbors, we can try to referee a little bit before it turns into something nasty. Feel free to call our numbers anytime for that sort of stuff. If you need to know about a point of law or anything, we are here to be a resource for you. So feel free to call me or call Chris, and if you have Christine's number, obviously, she's included in that too. But yeah, it's 281 7210.
Any questions for Lieutenant Sawicki?
Yes, sir.
I saw the gas and recreational day the first time. Are they allowed on that?
Oh, that's next on the agenda, so we'll just segue into.
Yeah, you're gonna cover that?
Yeah,
Okay.
What is the word that, that's good, yes.
yes, this won't be a popular.
Yeah, you're not gonna love the answer, but the good news is there's something you can do about it.
Yeah, so not a popular answer. So a lot of people approach me over the last 2 months about all the gas vehicles, right? Internal combustion engine vehicles. So I reached out to the county. I was like, look, we have this North Captiva plan that's part of the LEED plan that states, except for emergency events, public purposes, approved community needs, and permitted heavy equipment, heavy construction equipment, internal combustion powered vehicles are banned from all pathways on North Captiva. So got a response from Mickey Radulski, who's about to be our new Director of Community Development with Lee County. And the best thing I can do is just read her response to you real quick. This policy was adopted into the LEED plan by ordinance 0909 in 2009 as part of a community plan for North Captiva Goal 25 and renumbered to Goal 26 by ordinance 1818. As you correctly observed, policy 26.2.3 has not been codified into Lee County's Land Development Code, LDC. In fact, in 2014 provisions to implement policy 26.2.3 were explicitly rejected by the Board of County Commissioners when the LDC was amended by ordinance 1413 to include land development regulations specific to North Captiva. The LEED plan is the county's comprehensive plan that provides the principles, guidelines, standards, and strategies for the orderly and balanced development of land within unincorporated Lee County. The LEED plan is not a regulatory document with authority over motor vehicle or equipment operation. There's nothing in the LEED plan that permits enforcement of policy 26.2.3 by the sheriff or code enforcement. And there are also no violation provisions or penalties for violation of the LEED plan. In short, the operation of a motor vehicle or equipment is not a land use matter. Chapter 316, Florida statute, provides uniform traffic laws that apply throughout the state and its several counties and municipalities. Chapter 316 functions to prohibit any local legislation on traffic control or the enforcement thereof under the police power of a county or municipality, except as may be expressly authorized in the Uniform Traffic Control Law. Nowhere within Chapter 316 is Lee County permitted to prohibit the operation of vehicles with internal combustion engines. So there is no law that covers it. It's a community standard. We don't want it. I don't want it. I want it to be all electric. But there's no mechanism for us to call Mike and go, you can't.
Every thing that we do as far as a charging document, whether it's a citation or a violation of county ordinance or a different states, criminal state statute, there's a blank on every one of those charging documents for a number, and that's either a statute number or an ordinance number. We can't just kind of make up something and put it on there and try to slide it past the courts. They'll reject the charging document, and then I'll be making false arrests. So just like they were saying, I mean, if it's not an ordinance number that has enforcement powers and penalties associated with it, there's not really anything you can do. And, I know the language gets a little confusing in there when she was talking about the statutes, chapter 316, But if you read through that section, the state traffic control section, several of the statutes in there specifically empower counties and municipalities to create laws and ordinances. The provisions that do not allow golf carts on any public roadway. Underneath that says, golf carts are prohibited from publicly maintained roads in Florida, period. Then underneath it, it says counties and municipalities may, through ordinance, create operational zones for golf carts. So that's an example of what you were talking about, where, if it doesn't have that rider below it, saying that the counties can enact ordinances, we can't be more restrictive than the state statutes are. So, I don't know if that explanation is something.
Does that mean there's no speed limits on them? Does that mean there's no stop sign?
That's right.
They can drive on any side of the road.
Are not, first of all, there's no publicly maintained roads. But there are certain provisions, like, for example, in gated communities, we can do a traffic compact for enforcement in a gated community. The rub on that is that all of their speed limits, all of their signs, all of it, they have to be compliant with highway standards. So, all these communities that are like, 8 miles an hour speed limit, it's a cute little sign and everything, but it's completely unenforced. The way that I would mitigate some of that with speed and everything is with your bigger renters. If they can agree to regulate down their golf carts, because it would be safer generally for the community. But again, the ability to regulate that, that's outside of my expertise. I would encourage you guys, if you wanted to make contact with county commissioners, planning department and things, and ask them questions, that would probably be the right authority for that. I mean,
I'll throw
for
in
the enforcement end.
one quick sideline there, and we'll get to it at the very end. We have got a meeting set up with Commissioner Wu Wayne on June 8th at the fire department. So we'll be able to address.
I would encourage you guys to attend that. If you've never met Commissioner Ruane, Kevin Ruane, he's formerly the mayor of Sanibel. He's been involved in Sanibel city government, and he has been very proactive in helping the island communities, because he's very familiar with that dynamic. He's been very active in the aftermath of Hurricane Ian. I think he's probably the first of the county commissioners I've regularly seen in the affected areas. Just, they're his areas primarily, but he's been out in those communities quite a lot. So I would take the opportunity to meet Commissioner Ruane and hear what he has to say. Be forewarned that, there's certain things that the county just, like we were talking about with the statutes, that, the county's just not empowered to take action. But if you guys, my advice would be you guys kind of collectively meet and figure out how to express that there's a consensus about certain issues on the island that need to be dealt with. I think you'll find a receptive ear with Commissioner Wade.
Anything else for Lieutenant Sawicki or about the internal combustion engines?
Hey, can I just say something?
Yes.
Jim and I went to Little Gasparilla, which is also very similar to here. It's not Gasparilla / Boca Grande. It's like Captiva and North Captiva. Little Gasparilla, Gasparillas, exactly the same. They have 450 houses, very similar, and there were no racing golf carts. They had stop signs for 5 miles an hour, and it really was the owners that just didn't supply them. Just went around, and everybody went slow, and everybody respected it, and nobody was in a rush, and it's kind of island time. So we just implement that as community.
Yeah, I think it's gotta be that community standard. We have to, one person tells 2 people and those 2
Right.
people, we just have to.
It can be done.
to everyone.
It can be done. We were over there, it was lovely, and the roads were great, and I mean, with the nice golf
So
course.
some of those places, they're able to enforce through other measures, like, for example, USEPA, it's under single management. They almost have, it's almost like a gated community, but instead of a fencing, they have water around it. So they can enforce that through their rules, and they can penalize people who own on the island by levying fines against them, and in the same way that, HOAs and stuff can. One of the issues up here is that there's not unified management over the island, so you have, a community here that has some rules, but can they enforce that on non-owners? Because their mechanism for enforcement is to apply liens and fines, whatever, through the HOA agreements. So that may not be an option for all of you up here, but on a more informal level, and one of the things that works great is working on kind of your branding. Most people don't go somewhere with the intent of being a jerk. So if you guys are projecting a certain atmosphere, it's kind of like if you go into, 3 or 4 different bars on a main street. And you go in one, you're like, wow, this is a really nice place. They got nice music playing, nice lighting, have some wine and cheese and whatever. And you go to a sports bar, everyone's having a fun time. And then you go into that last bar and like everybody's like glowering, looking for a fight. And they got the bouncers in size medium black shirts and the hair gel. And they're barking at everybody. It's great out of hand. Well, which one of those is going to have fights and problems 100 times out of 100? That last one. And so it comes down to as a crime control measure and just kind of a general controlling the atmosphere of your island, that comes down a lot to how you guys as members of the community and how your rental companies and how your businesses out here, how they present the island and the community expectation. And that, again, that's an informal thing and it has to be done through kind of a community consensus of everybody kind of being on the same page with it. But, you have some people that have a certain expectation and then you have other people saying, come rent my house. You can do whatever you want up here. And that is the conduct that you're seeing as a result of
We're in
that.
Florida,
So,
the freest country in the world, right?
evidently, yeah. So, that's just something to think about. And a big part of that is, we solved that in Captiva. And I know some of you heard me say this before. We have big sections of Captiva that are private, that we can't enforce a golf cart rule. There's 2 miles of Captiva beyond the gate in South Seas that there is no rules for golf carts, just like up here. But the problems are greatly reduced because they have management in there that, kind of enforces their own rules. But also the big thing is the golf cart rental companies are proactive in solving these problems. If they see a kid driving down that street in one of their carts, they're taking the cart back, they're charging the guy $500 and he's walking for the rest of his vacation. They might rent him a bike, but I know it might not be practical up here because a lot of your golf carts are attached to individual home rentals. So it's one of those things. I have a lot of ideas about this. It just would take a lot of effort on your guys' part to implement it. It really comes down to you guys as residents and business owners to do the heavy lifting on that.
One thing we can do is talk more about that on May 17th.
Perfect.
We're doing another town hall with
Yes.
the county sheriff's office. Did one 2 years ago, so we'll have a couple hours. And go through
As you can guess, I love to hear myself talk. So.
Be able to enforce laws and so forth.
Yes, so you have an off-duty details program. But, the caveat to that is they come out here and they have full police members. They come out here in a uniform, badge, gun, flashlight, the whole McGill. But they still can only enforce laws and rules that exist on the books.
And they scream at the kids.
If there's one thing I like more than something, it's screaming at kids. The one thing we have to be careful about, Russ, is that, there are constitutional protections out there for people. We can't stop somebody and detain them if they're not breaking the law or violating, an ordinance or something. That is the authority for us to stop and detain people, is that we've observed a violation of the law. So like a kid driving a golf cart, we might be able to have a little chat, say, oh, that's really not safe. But if they're like, I don't care, and they keep driving down the road, there's basically nothing you can do about that. So again, we need to look at community solutions. I'd be happy to discuss if anybody is interested in knowing more about that details program. Catch up with me afterwards. I don't want to monopolize any more of the board's time here with that. But I'd be glad to tell you about it and what it does, and how it functions.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thanks, Mike.
All right. Anything else? Okay.
Awesome. All right, so that brings us to committees and projects. I think most of these will go pretty fast. Everyone wants to hang out. But Paul is gonna have a pretty big presentation on stuff. So we'll start with community and membership committee, Melissa, Paula, Marlene, and Kevin, who wants to go?
Don't really have anything. We had our last night of cleanup.
Yeah.
Yesterday, and nothing else on the books yet.
One thing that we're thinking of maybe in October when walkers are having their party and poker run and whatever. Would you guys think if we attempted a chili cook-off again? Would you think that would be interesting? Would you like to go?
Yes.
Yeah.
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 Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, the fun. Any other questions for that committee?
that sometime around the.
I think we would do it Thursday. Duncan's poker run would be Friday, and then Lisa's party would be Saturday. And then I think either on the front end or the back end, we'll do another round.
I still haven't chili.
Yeah.
I got I think
All right, so moving on to government affairs committee, that's me. We've kind of done it, trying to set up town halls with the sheriff, reach out to Lee County to get feedback on things like the internal combustion engines and stuff like that. And then we're working with, where's Duncan? So Duncan and I are working together to bring together this meeting with Commissioner Ruane. And it's gonna be limited time. We're gonna have 2 total hours with him. So I don't think we'll be able to have it just be a full-on open to the public, just random questions. So we'll start putting out a survey or something in the next week to sort of get the feedback, like what questions do we want to ask him while we've got him in the room. And anyone who's here, we may, have you like, start leaving, like, will you show up and ask for a question? But so that's coming up June 8th. At fire. That's all I got.
A little room at fire department.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, Duncan, can we do it here? Maybe we can see if we can do it here.
I don't think
Yeah.
Duncan's the right guy.
Well, no, I'm saying taking it away outside. Yeah, so see if. We do it outside like we've done. All right, so next is communication committee, Dave.
Yeah, so just a quick update, and this kind of moves over to membership. So we're currently at 136 2023 member households. That's not a one-to-one relation. It may be 2 per household, or maybe 1 in a household. So 136, that may translate to, I don't know, a couple hundred members, I suppose. There are still 54 2022 households that didn't renew, that, people could have moved away or all those kind of things. We do have 539 email subscribers. So the master lists that are caring about Upper Captiva, and they get notices about various topics that, throughout the hurricane time and the post-hurricane with town halls and all those things. It goes beyond membership. So those are all people interested, in the UCCA or in the island itself. We sent out 20 informational emails to this since this quarter. So this is all first quarter updates. We do have a YouTube channel. So when videos are created on this membership meetings or other town hall like these, they get published to that YouTube channel. For some of those people that do go online, you can go to YouTube and watch them. They're always linked on the website, so you can always see them. The only one that we've had since the beginning of this year was our membership meeting from January 25th, which you think, well, I mean, would anybody actually, sign up to watch that? Well, actually, people have. So there were 78 views. People actually looked at it, and then 25 hours of watch time. So people that can't make the meeting, they missed it. There are topics they might like to see. You can always go to the website, and it translates to the YouTube channel for viewing. We did implement a new calendaring plugin on the website. So Melissa's been doing a great job of keeping that up to date. And you'll see if you go to the website, it's presented there, the events that are going on, when they're going to be held, where they're at, what the details are, those kind of things. So you can always see that from UCCA events. And actually, those are community events. So you will see also the The fire, for example, the one that's up there now, the fire district special meeting this Friday is up there as well. So there's information about other community events. The last thing, I don't know if there can be a report, we implemented the golf cart registry some years back.
Well, it was actually a year and a half. Well, it was less than a year. We kicked it off, I think, 3 weeks before that visitor called Ian. arrived. And so there were a number of carts that had to be deleted with those. But the reason that he shows 10 in April, about once a quarter, I'll post in the Facebook homeowners group a reminder that we have a golf cart registry. And I'll answer the same questions. Some owners that don't rent say, why do we need them? And the response I provide is, well, your golf carts seem to disappear sometimes, and other islanders can help you find them or see them. I think, Deb, you had one that was gone for like 2 or 3 weeks that finally showed up. Yeah, those that rent, you can have islanders take pictures and email you if you've got a registry link so that they know who the homeowner is that's allowing their golf cart to be used by renters or not. And those that put property managers' names and email or phone numbers in, they can be texted or emailed. So I kind of hijacked your.
That's okay, maybe we knocked yours out at the same time.
I did.
But for those that haven't like around a little bit or new to the process, like the golf cart registry was an attempt by UCCA to provide a tool to help address the people who have historically said, hey, I don't know what to do about these golf carts that are being driven by young people or recklessly, and I don't know what to do about it. And so the opportunity here is to, if you register your golf cart and someone you see, and once your golf carts are registered, you can also go to the website and search to find, you see some kid driving a golf cart and you took a picture of it, or you remember it was a black cart with a certain name of a house on it. You can look it up in the golf cart registry. There it is. Okay, well, there's the homeowner's contact, or the owner's contact info. And you can actually let them know that somebody's driving your cart poorly. So it could be a renter, the owner doesn't even know it, or sometimes it's a relative of the owner that they don't know their relatives driving it badly and they're aghast when they find out, but they can take action. So again, there's 153 total carts insured right now, 153, so that's good. And then 18 new ones in first quarter. So again, it's resetting of those that were damaged and destroyed, and new carts coming on island. And I think it's a tool that we have attempted to put in place to give you some leverage to like take action and let the owner of a cart know, or to protect yourself from yours getting gone and somebody can find it.
And for homeowners that aren't on island, that still want to have their items put into the registry, and property manager, or you don't rent, you don't have a property manager, you want pictures taken, Bonnie volunteered to do pictures. I volunteered that if there's any problem in doing the upload, email them to me and I'll get them loaded. I'll make sure that the registry goes live for those homeowners that are interested in trying to at least take one small step and maybe not solving the problem, but at least trying to address the problem.
Any questions for David?
Sure.
I suggested all the homeowners that don't have the logo on the golf cart, that's one way to do it.
Yeah, it could be house name, it could be on mine, I just put HB and CI, and that's what I, for Havana Breeze and Captiva Isle, that was stuck in on the golf cart, it's stuck in the registry, because that ID is searchable. Someone had I want to say a North Carolina license plate on the front end, and that became the ID. Anything that is on the golf cart that identifies it, it's pretty much a free form field.
Yeah.
And we can print it. Safety Harbor Club card IDs and numbers, yes, can go in there.
Is there a point?
Those
of
are harder to
contact?
see though.
Is there a point of contact for that? I mean, we have a cart that's been driven into a pond or something like that. Is there somebody who maintains that would be able to put us in contact with the owner?
Yes.
You can find the owner's info in that search. So we can give you a link to that Okay.
And you can just send an email to info@uppercaptiva-civic-association.org and David gets it.
Well,
But you can send to me.
What I'd like to do is find somebody that if, I hate to wake people up at 3 o'clock in the morning, we're out here.
Right,
There's people have been driving like crazy and roll 2 of them into the lake out here.
right.
That
So,
we-
so I do, so on your phone, if you go to the main web, or UCCA website, captivacivicassociation.org, on the main screen, there's a search function for the golf cart registry. You just enter any of those varieties, the color of the card or the number, whatever. And then it's got the contact info for the owner and you can get right to it.
Perfect, thank you.
Yep.
We encourage everyone to register their car.
Owner information is not searchable from the initial link. First, you do a search of the golf cart color, the golf cart ID, and then you go deeper into the website so that a typical bot scraper can't take the data. So we have implemented some limited protections of owner data.
You can call me. I'll give you our number.
Great.
Any other questions on communication or golf cart registry? All right, good there. So just to finish up, just going over town halls coming up. We're doing one on Wednesday, May 17th with the county sheriff's office. We've got the upcoming one on Thursday, June 8th with Commissioner Ruane. And then assuming we get a new fire chief soon, after he's, sort of got some time to get his feet wet, we'll do one with him. Yep.
So most of those dates went out in that last email, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So raise your hand if you got an email recently that had about this membership meeting and about those town halls.
You all got it, whether you opened it or not.
No, wait, I don't know. So one person in the room.
Yeah, one.
2,
That's how
3,
you.
4.
Oh, I got
Okay. Six. So this is, so I guess my point is, there are 500, there are 500 and blah, 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 number of people and all UCCA members, now, I don't know how many of you are UCCA members, but every UCCA member is in the subscription list with your primary email address. And if your primary registering email address is not getting email about notifications of all these types of things, and this is a particular thing, it's like, oh, there's gonna be a town hall meeting, it's very important, whatever. If you're not getting those, and if you do use email, it'd be good to email info@captivacivicassociation.org and let me know so that I can figure out why in the heck you're not getting your email. Because many times now with Gmail and AOL and I don't know, all the different providers, they're getting tighter and tighter and tighter in how they try to prevent spam. And by preventing spam, oftentimes the good stuff gets caught in the bad stuff. And so you won't get emails and you won't know it because you're not getting it. But I'm just trying to make the plea, like, if you're not getting it, let me know, because I can help. Like, it's a common thing. Go look here and here's how you fix it to let your emails come.
Cool. All right, any other business that anyone wants to bring up?
Are you gonna tell us about the street sign?
Oh, shoot, I missed you. Oh, my gosh, how did this get over here? You know why? Because I jumped there.
I apologize to David, I shouldn't apologize.
Paul is up on the road signs, beach sign projects.
So these are an example of what we are looking at for the road signs. If you look at it, it would be a 4x4 that gets cemented in like 3 to 4 feet into the ground, cemented in, and then this white that is around it. And then it has an LED light on top. What we need to decide is first, if you guys like that option. Second, we have a 36-inch one because a lot of the street things are pretty long. So we're looking at either the 36-inch, this one is reflective, that I think we're gonna get them reflective. So when the golf cart shines on it, you'll be able to read the street name. It's metal. And then we just need to decide we were talking about either doing different colors for each street, or doing the background a different color. So we would just need to decide which one, and if you guys like this option for street signs. Excuse me? It's AZAC. So it's like what the trim that you put on the house, so it's very sturdy, like it would be very sturdy and not get, like weathered, like a regular 4x4. But the board would be a treasure treated.
Well, what are the costs, what's the cost for the whole island if you done?
So once I know the whole, what options you guys like, don't like, if you wanna go with the 36 inch, if you wanna go with the 24 inch road sign, then I'm going to put it up and we will send that out to you guys.
And are they gonna be
Shoreline.
all four, each side, so that?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
however the road signs are now, we took pictures of all of them, so as of right now, without Safety Harbor, I don't know if anybody's here with Safety Harbor, they were going to, I was gonna discuss it with them, if they like this option too, I can get enough for all of the island, but if without Safety Harbor, because I wasn't sure on that, there's 147 signs that I need, the aluminum signs, and then I believe like 38 posts. And Shoreline is giving us a discount also. That's who we try to get the supply list from. If anybody else has any ideas, that's just one that we use quite a bit, and he said he would give us a discount on it. And I will send all of that out, all the invoices and everything, so everybody can see what the cost would be.
Yeah, we did some initial budgets, but not on this version, so we've got to pull those together and then approve it.
I can give you my contact info, because we're gonna be consistent with our colors in the club. so
Okay.
We can work with you. So-
Okay, that's perfect. So what's gonna happen, so as of right now, we're hoping that, my husband made this one and he made it basically in 20 minutes. I don't know how he did it, but he did. So what we're hoping to do is to get them all made and make sure they're all correct in one location, and then hoping to have a community, like people come instead of trying to hire a company to do it to save on the cost, unless you guys want to company that we have like a day or two where we go around
Sign
and
day.
sign day and
Postpone that.
yes.
Steve?
Is this something that you're looking? This is good. This-
No, we're.
Well, I'll decide the color. I'll decide the color. What do you guys like the color and background? It's like the wording for the color. Yeah, you did. Yeah, I did. I found a lot of that. Like Randy found one that.
So let us say this,
Yeah.
because Paul's a nice person, she might solicit input, but at the end of the day, the board will make the decision. You okay with your, that's what she's saying.
Yes, yeah. And is this height okay for you guys? Because this is what will be out of the ground.
You got a lot of little deep here.
36. Nice, bad one.
Yes.
Thank you.
I have a question. Currently on the beach end of roads, there aren't any signs. Are you considering doing one on the beach end?
Signs for.
Like on the.
You know, you're walking down the beach and you're trying to find hidden lane to turn into, but you don't know which road is hidden lane.
We can do it right on.
Yeah.
At the end of the road.
So I'm not 100% sure on how we would be able to do that on signs like that, but we are, the other project that we're working on are beach signs that do have a map of the island, which with all the names on it. I don't know if you're able to pull it up. I sent you the email. But anyway.
It won't show here to them, you have to see it.
So I have just a couple examples. It's really small and this is a rough draft, but what we're trying to do is get input on it. But the map I did finally find a map, which was really hard to find the whole island and not just the street. So we have a map with the main Like we have Safety Harbor, we have Mangoes, we have, the Salty Approach, so the main businesses that are on the island. Wanting to put this on the South Beach side, the Dolphin Beach, and the two, I have to talk to Island Club still. Two where the passengers will, like renters will be getting off of the ferries. We would like them posted there so that they can look at it quickly. This is another thing that I'd like input on what information you think is important on it. We're trying to keep like one sign instead of all these little signs that we have. I've sent Helen a couple examples. This is semi like the example I sent you, but I want your input on that because we would prefer to have one big sign with all the information quick to look at and see. So if there's any information you guys think that you would like on a sign like this, if you can reach out to me.
So I think you're talking about doing an email blast, what with soliciting input, right?
Right.
We'll do that. Again,
So that you can
reference my
see-
previous question. If you didn't raise your hand, then you're not gonna get an email for any input.
Right. And we'll have these made up, and then we're also gonna have a small one for like no ride and no golf carts on the beach for each road. There are 5 roads that you can get out onto the beach from also. That we're working with the new chief when he comes in about how we can block that off so golf carts can't go also, and then have a sign there also showing no golf carts, no fires on the beach. Information and having the code statutes, like he said, on there. So any input, please let me know, because that's what we are trying to work on to get done, and it would be with the same kind of the posts with like the rope around it, so it's consistent throughout the island and what's islandy.
Those are the same roads that would also need the signs from the beach, so we could possibly put that on the other side.
Oh,
The
the other
name-
side.
Yeah, the name of the
So
road.
maybe we could do that.
And I have a question.
Yes.
I wanted to know where you're gonna go forward with blocking some of the places where the golf carts get out on.
So that's what we were just talking about. So we're waiting on the new fire chief to get in, so we can sort of work with him on it. But the goal is, so we're already working, we got sort of worked with UCCA and North Captiva Dunes to figure out that butterfly beach
Yeah.
access. Then Escondido through, not really Sierra, through Oropezos and then North Airport Road, we plan to block some way. I think, you know, just islands with rope, and we're hoping that the chief will be like, yep, if we got an issue, we'll cut the rope and we'll drive through. And then have signage there with sort of our rules of the beach, turtle information, no golf carts, no fires, everything.
That's it.
Any other questions for Paula on those projects? All right.
Okay.
Any other business? Anything anyone wants to bring up? Chris?
What kind of meetings? I know it's hard to think about.
Yeah.
Have you guys started scheduling for your next hurricane preparedness meeting?
So actually, I can't remember who I was talking to earlier about. it. So we're gonna put we kind of want to wait on our new fire chief, because he should be involved in that, but we'll put our task force that we had post Hurricane Ian back together with the chief and really start documenting all the things that, you know, we need to.
Yeah, it'd be nice to really beef it up and just buffer it.
Because here we come. I think.
Especially because it's hard to believe, but we're getting onto the doorstep of hurricane season again,
Yeah,
so.
and there's no way that we're not gonna be on edge.
Yeah.
Right? Anything else? All right, with that, do we have a motion to adjourn? We're adjourned. Let's go out, drink some snacks.